He's just a very sweet, lovable fellow. My husband got hurt at work and we had to move.
Were forced either to choose between being evicted, their whole family, or, letting Ned go.
Then we didn't know where he was.
Would hold Ned for them until they got into a better situation and they could get him back.
Everyone just said, oh, I just gave him away.
This cat has been through a lot. He looked like a cat had been left on the street.
I didn't ever think that we would see Ned again.
It was 2006 when I got him. He was born underneath our house, and I think there was like a litter of 5, and he was the only one that looked like his mom. And so I said, we'll keep the pretty one.
He thinks he's a dog, so he's constantly licking somebody.
He's very persistent. When he wants to clean somebody, he will hold you down.
He didn't really act like a cat. He's like very chill, kind of like a dog would be.
He's just a very sweet, lovable fellow. My husband got hurt at work and we had to move, and the place where we were moving to wouldn't allow cats. So we snuck him in and got caught.
So they were forced either to choose between being evicted, their whole family, or, letting Ned go. So they had to make the hard choice to let Ned go, and they gave him to a friend of their son's who they thought would hold Ned for them until they got into a better situation and they could get him back.
And then just eventually down the line, Ned got switched from friend to friend to friend. And
then we didn't know where he was.
Everyone just said, oh, I just gave him away.
I thought he was like happy in a home somewhere, and he wasn't.
We do have a wait list, obviously, because we don't have, unlimited space in the shelter, though I wish someday that we did. And the person that had Ned had called in quite a number of times, very desperate for help. I don't know what it was. I was just kind of looking, and we were talking about, who needed help with what their situations were. I saw the post-it with the gentleman's name and a little bit about the cat, and I said, let's just call this one. I don't, it's hard to explain sometimes why things happen, but I truly believe now there was a reason for it. We called the gentleman, and the next day he brought Ned in.
When he first came in, he definitely looked like he had been through it. He definitely was very, very small. Originally, when he went up to the cage, he just looked sad. He wasn't at the front of the cage trying to get attention or anything like that. But when you opened it up and pet him, he's like, really? You here to see me? He was such a sweet soul. He was so gentle, and he took him out, and it's just wow, this cat has been through a lot. He had his missing hair. He was riddled with fleas. He looked like a cat had been left on the street, honestly.
So with Ned, we did notice that he did have some issues. Upon looking at his teeth, he did need a dental. And so with that, we did his intake and then brought him over to the shelter with the understanding that we would provide the dental, and then he could be basically fostered to adopt with us getting the dental, and then he would be complete for his adoption. We did a Facebook post, and the story took off from there.
I'm a foster for Paws and Whiskers. I had just adopted out my last kittens, and I actually saw a post on Facebook about Ned and thought, I just need to go and see what this guy's story is. So I went up to Paws and met Ned, and he's just this amazing, sweet baby. So I just thought, I was a little sad from letting my fosters go. He was doing much better than he had been when he was brought in, but he just seemed like he needed to go home and have a house experience too. So I thought, we need each other. So I brought Ned home to foster.
I was up early that day for some strange reason, and my stepdaughter had tagged me in the post and said, look, another Ned. And I was like, no, that's our Ned. And so I got some old pictures, and then I contacted Paws and Whiskers, and they weren't open yet because they didn't open till 12. So I waited, and Jimmy woke up at like 9, and by then I was up for like 2 or 3 hours at that point, just waiting.
Cindy was actually standing at the bedroom door. And so I opened up the door, and she shows me a picture on her phone of Facebook. And she was like, that's Ned. And I was like, yeah, that's Ned.
And he said, let's go get him. And I was like, they don't open till 12. You know, I've called, I've left messages. Like, I was a total Facebook stalker at that point, commenting on everybody's post with Ned's picture. And I was like, maybe I should go delete my comments because I look kind of crazy right now.
I didn't ever think that we would see Ned again after he gets, transferred from person to person. You lose track. And to see him, and to see his picture, and you just know that's Ned. It's like your child. You know what your kid looks like, so that's Ned. Maybe around 10 o'clock or maybe 10:30, something like that. We didn't hear anything back yet, from the shelter. So I just said, let's just jump in the car and head over there.
We just hopped in the car and drove to Paws and Whiskers. They weren't open yet.
Yeah, because, you got to get Ned back. So that was my purpose, was just to go there and, how much is the adoption fee? I wanted to skip the entire process and just get Ned, and that didn't work out too well.
The same post that I saw on Facebook where I first saw Ned, a lady had commented it, her name was Cindy, and said that she thought that Ned was their family cat that they had had years ago. And I was intrigued by this, and I just thought, I have to learn more about these people, and hopefully I can learn more about Ned. What is his history? How old is he?
Ned's foster mom commented on the post asking me how old Ned was. And I was talking to my husband. I was like, I wonder if that's who has Ned. And so, we did a couple comments back and forth. And then she had said, I sent you a private message. So I was like, okay.
After I reached out and spoke with Cindy, we got on the phone and we talked on the phone. And it was certain that Ned was their cat. She sent me pictures of him as a baby. It was really cool to see these little baby kitten pictures and, picture with him with their son. And it was just evident that this is the same cat. This was their cat that they hadn't seen for 7 years, and that they thought was lost forever. It was amazing to talk to her and to hear their story and just to hear her voice, just the relief that, they'd found Ned after all this time, and they had, been talking about him and missing him this whole time and just didn't even ever think they'd see him again.
I know I kept asking Cindy, we'll just ask if we can go see him, and I know at first Cindy was kind of like, well, let's just wait a minute because nobody knows each other here, and then eventually Cindy was like, can we, come and visit?
After all this time, they just wanted to see him again. And I said, of course. Like I couldn't imagine them not being able to come and see him.
And when Nicole said yes, I said, okay, well, here's our chance. And so then, we get to Nicole's house, and then, we finally get to see, Ned after 6-7 years. I was excited to see him. I was really upset on the condition that he was in.
It was a little shocking because he's so skinny compared. He was a little chunky cat back in the day, and
I remember, big fat Ned, and he was just bones, and then from talking to Nicole, that was, well, he has, a little bit of kidney issues, and, his teeth were no good, so, he's got to go to the vet and get teeth pulled.
He looks like an old man now. He's not like the young thing he once was.
Once I got over, what happened to you, then he would come over, and start, being the regular Ned that we remembered, constantly cleaning you, kissing you, and you want to pick him up and you want to snuggle him, but you're looking at him and you don't know how frail he really is.
But it's still the same Ned. I mean, he still acts the same.
And it was really just so touching to see how it was evident how much they loved him and how much they had missed him. And just it was kind of an emotional moment for everybody, I think. And to be able to welcome them into my home was just, it meant so much to me to be able to help them reconnect with him after all this time and after all they had been through and after all he had been through.
We went back to Nicole's house another time, after that to visit with Ned. We brought him a bed and, stuff, and we're still not 100% sure we would get Ned.
If I want my Ned, then I have to answer some questions. And it's, it's understandable because why do you want him if you, got rid of him? So they just wanted to make sure that he was going to be taken care of.
I was told, well, he's got a dentist appointment, he's got, other stuff, so it's still going to be a while, before you can get him. And Sarah, let us know at that time, that, we would be, okay to adopt him.
I think this was painful. And like I said, even when we had him under anesthesia, we would touch here and he would chatter. And these are the chewing teeth. So those back molars are common chewing teeth. So I think getting rid of this, basically an open sore on both of those gums. Now he doesn't have that. He's gonna feel a lot better.
Here in foster, I'm able to monitor him a little bit more personally, watch his health. He did have some health procedures, some done with the vet since he's been with me, so I've been able to keep an eye on him, give him his meds, make sure he's getting the care that he needs. I love seeing how much Ned has improved. He came to me, he's tired, he's beat up, he'd had a rough way to go. And, now he's full of love. He's full of purrs. He was sweet the whole time, but now he's almost demanding. He wants all the love.
We finally got the call, I think it was a Thursday. And, okay, well, you guys can come and pick up Ned now. And so we wound up going to the shelter, and Ned was in a little carrier. And it took him a minute to kind of come out, but he's been through a lot, And so once he came out, then it was, he started giving kisses and, he was purring up a storm. And it was like, okay, well, we got him. Let's just go now. Let's just, get him back home and, get him comfortable again.
It was like, whew, finally. It's been a couple weeks. This is an ordeal.
We always talk about Ned. Ned always gets brought up, regardless of, what's going on. And for him to come back, 6-7 years later, it was just miraculous, really.
He would sleep right in my face and clean my arms and my hands and make sure I was clean. And then slowly he started coming around like, let's explore. And now he's out here all the time. He doesn't even go in the bedroom. Don't you think this is my ice cream? This is my ice cream.
We go to the Outer Banks every summer, and so all of, we just pack up and we just head there for 6 to 8 months out of the year. And so now Ned gets to be a world traveler. So, well, a U.S. traveler. We don't know about the world yet.
But I really do think people care for each other, and you can see that now. If it wasn't for people looking out for people they don't even know, none of this would have happened.
It was so heartwarming to see, and I just felt, I felt so lucky to be able to be a part of the story and to be a part of Ned's life and to meet Jim and Cindy, who are wonderful people, and to be able to be a part of this. I just felt like it was absolutely the right thing. It was meant to be. It was absolutely meant to be, like a little mini miracle.
The stars were aligned, I guess. I'm very grateful. I would have never thought that he would have been found by his family 7 years later. I'm just still in amazement, and I'm glad that he is reunited and doing so well.
Everything lined up the way it should have been, so that way we could get Ned back.
If it's meant to be, it'll be. I mean, if it's meant to be. I mean, there was a reason why I seen his picture. There was a reason why, he was surrendered. So it was meant to be. He was meant to be here.